It still boggles my mind that modern houses are more flammable than houses from like 100 years ago.
It's because of all the synthetic materials.
Michelle was watching a.
Oh, I was watching this thing called.
Oh,
It
the bed
Stinks.
sheet thing.
Huh?
The bed sheet thing.
Well, it's about how fabric is treated with so many flame retardants. The end comes. So what had happened was, I suppose back in the 70s or 80s, because of so many homes or people being burned alive in their own beds because of lit cigarette.
Yeah, people would be smoking in bed, and then wouldn't put them out properly.
And it would fall into their pajamas or their sheets and stuff. So instead of cautioning people, you know, don't do that in bed, they're like, let's put chemicals in everyone's fabric. And apparently it's been causing a lot of...
Yeah, it's not good for people.
Well, it's like formaldehyde and a bunch of other chemicals are...
That sort of lobbying always bugs me. It's like, hey, we know public transportation would be amazing for your city, but you know what's also great? Car profits. Let's sink the trolley system.
Yeah, trolleys were rendered extinct
that
because they wanted...
so much, because trolleys are so fun to ride in.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the trolleys, they were pushed out because companies wanted to sell tires.
Well, yeah, the automotive industry... Well, not just companies wanted to sell tires.
Well,
the automotive
cars,
industry
tires, and gasoline.
Wanted, like, you know, the full... right. I got Bloody Torment, and we also have Paragon points that we should be spending.
Oh, so many Paragon points.
Let's see, 1 second.
But yeah, I think they were doing a...
That is too expensive.
I forget what show it was on, but there was a test. They had gotten, you know, a bed, a rug, curtains and stuff, all in only materials that you would have access to in, say, the 50s or something, right?
Yeah.
When everything was still cottons, you know, non-synthetic fibers, whatnot. And, you know, they set it on fire. And sure, a fire starts, but it doesn't spread nearly as swiftly. They made the same room, but with modern materials, and it just lit up.
You should get your Paragon points spent.
Huh?
You also, well, Paragon points, you also have a unique ring.
I'm just looking at the comments. Saw Shell's artwork on Twitter.
I mean, do you want me to manage this?
Got me interested in Diablo. Oh, thanks. I mean, we're playing Diablo now. I've never really played Diablo before. I've always known about it as one of Blizzard's major IPs because they have StarCraft, Warcraft. World of Warcraft is bundled into Warcraft. And I suppose now they have Overwatch is new, but Diablo, when was the first Diablo game released?
Late 90s?
Okay. So that was more of their, you know, the war of angels and demons, and would you consider this medieval in nature, or is it just a little bit past that? There's some, like, crossbows.
It's medieval, Dark Ages.
Dark Ages. The Dark Ages of mankind.
Let's see, so what are we doing after this? Crosscode! Actually, Desert, seeing as you're hanging out in chat, you might like Crosscode. It seems like the kind of thing that you would enjoy thoroughly, based on my vague profiling of what you've watched.
Captain Hale's house, a new event. Help the girl fight the Reapers. What girl?
I can't do that.
I guess there's a girl in here?
Or are they referring
there
to
she
Miriam?
is, Kyla.
You're good at fighting, aren't you? My friend's down the hall. I have to get to him.
All right, Kyla.
I like these little mini dungeons. I don't really like the multi-tiered dungeons.
Also, your house is massive. There are things standing in here.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why we're doing so much Diablo tonight is because...
We're in the end.
You're the hero from Bastion's Keep. How did you get here? You saved my life. I helped. You took my sword, didn't you?
I wanted to beat this tonight.
Kids, we're not out of the
No,
fire
because
pit yet, or whatever
well,
you
I
call
mean, there's
it.
more Reapers in their quote-unquote house complex.
I think we're safe now. Does that mean you'll give me my sword back? No. You go on ahead. We'll meet up with you later. And we'll keep fighting, just like you.
Kids, what are...
I like it how it's Kyla and Small Boy. Oh, hey. Radiant chest. Grab things. Is there? No, I guess there's no warp out of here. I guess we'll just walk out this way. Yeah, there's no beating D3. You just continue to grind for gear. I might do that on the Switch, but I don't think Shell will be joining me for any of the post-game grind.
It's one of those things where,
Shell
as with any
really
game,
isn't-
I'm just around for story.
Yeah, she's invested in the story. At this point, I've been just doing her equipment management and...
Because for me, I do enjoy some gameplay, but it's one of those things where I like to get immersed in a new universe. And what I like about video games is, unlike a movie or a book and whatnot, like books... Okay, so movies, they have everything laid out for you. The imagery, the acting, the voices, yeah, it's all there and laid out for you. You can't influence it. You can't envision parts of it. It's all there for you. Books, you have some kind of creative license when you're imagining the words, how they translate into your head. Like, oh, you know, how are you going to imagine this character's appearance and what their voice sounds like? And you can sort of craft your own cinematography in your head and create your scenes, and that allows you to interact with it somewhat. But then, I mean, games, they do have the imagery and everything laid out for you, but you get to be a character in it. Now, you might not be able to to customize every single action or their appearance or whatnot in all cases, but there's some amount of participation
An interesting opponent.
that you get in games that you don't get in other
Time for
media.
that creature to die.
Yeah.
And I like that. And then, of course, there are the games that are really in-depth where you do have choice and you do have a means of influencing the course of the story.
I have just grown so disillusioned with choice in video games lately.
Well, because many of them are false choices.
Like I think
or
there's
just a simple branch.
Wasteland 2, which I've heard is one of the better choice simulator games. And I think that's like one of the only ones. It's like Divinity Original Sin. How many choices did we even make that actually mattered apart from like, you know, minor differences?
And of course, in the Call of Cthulhu game, you found out that your choices, you could try everything at the end.
I cannot do
I
that.
think Shell would like World of Final Fantasy. I was telling her that the other day.
Really, there are choices.
Not World of Final Fantasy, but I think you'd like it and you'd get
Oh.
immersed in it. It's got cute critters.
Cute critters.
It's got really cute critters. Like, you get a chocobo.
Chocobo.
Multiple chocobos.
I named my AP biology
Multiple
chicken partner
varieties
Chocobo.
of chocobos, even. Like, that's the best part.
I taught Chocobo so many tricks. Chocobo was a good
And it's
chick.
not even, like, that long of a JRPG from what I remember. Like, it was long because I was, like, semi-obsessive about, like, doing side content.
I have more control now.
Yeah, Detroit Human...
Master would take pride
Detroit
in
Becomes
this.
Human, or Become Human?
That's the one with the android people, right?
Yeah, that one has consequences. But that's because it's a short, very linear game. You sacrifice a lot of the gameplay and length in favor of having an extensive
Kind of
choice
like what the
system.
Telltale games were,
Yeah.
in a way. Though even the Telltale ones didn't feel like much... I mean, there were some characters that lived and died, but then they become made relevant later.
Well, I think initially it felt like the choices were impactful, but then you kind of realize...
I grow weak.
Oops. Wow.
Oh.
I got murked.
There
I
was
was-
something forming around me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. I was looking away from chat for a second, then suddenly I was dead. Oh well. But like with the old Telltale games, when you first played them, it felt like the choices mattered. And by like the second and third Telltale game you play, you're like, oh no, nothing matters. This is just a slightly branching interactive cutscene. And like it sucked a little bit. Because I don't know, I really wanted to like Telltale games, but I just couldn't get into them. I think this year has kind of convinced me largely that I prefer linear narrative games where somebody else does all the choosing for me, like the writers write a good story, and then I'm just along for the ride. Because that's what I experienced in, like, God of War and Spider-Man. And, like, I couldn't affect anything, and I knew how it was going to go, and I was so enthralled as a result.
Yeah, it's kind of how we've discussed, would you rather have the silent, faceless protagonist that
Oh,
could
I
be
hate
anyone,
silent protagonists. The only
or
silent
the ones
protagonists
that
I've...
have a real personality? What I don't like, though, is if you do have the ones with personality, what if they're inherently someone that you don't agree with? But at the same time, they have to make them likable.
I have become invested in asshole main characters before, though.
It just seems like there's been a plethora of those lately.
Yeah. And, like, I can deal with a...
No one wants to play a boring hero that's always in the right. And
I can deal with a character that's kind of drywall. Like, Death in Darksiders 2.
Oh, yeah.
He was just kind of a dick to people, and, like, kind of snarked, but
You would try to
mostly...
crack jokes.
Mostly, he was just mean. And I was fine with that. Oh, the king.
Oh, is this his palace? Lord Winter.
It is done. The bloodline of Rakis will once again sit on the throne of Westmarch.
You mean yourself?
My grandmother was the daughter of Coralon, but he would not claim her because she was born of a courtesan, not a queen. With the peasants supporting me, Westmarch will become a place of freedom and equality. The idle rich will be no more. Of course, there will be some bloodshed. We must make a few examples, consolidate our power. A small price to pay.
A small price to pay that you won't
would
pay.
upset the balance for personal gain. I will not stand idly by.
I have spent my whole life preparing for this day, you primitive
Wait a
heathen.
minute. Why is this a subplot? This guy was the...
So this guy was the instigator for deposing the king.
Yeah, I know he's the instigator of it, but... So he was the son of a woman that had been begotten by the king's courtesan, so he couldn't have possibly reclaimed...
Yeah, effectively, he had a claim to the throne, but not as good of one. But he was still kind of a minor noble, and so, as a result...
He staged this coup while all the people are getting slain by dastardly death angels.
He's an opportunistic jerkwad. Let's see.
And he was doing the whole, oh, but there must be examples.
Well, yeah, I will sacrifice myself for the greater good by becoming the king, and it's like,
Well,
that's
no, he's doing there must be sacrifice,
Oh.
but they always say that when it's never the sacrifice they make.
well, yeah,
Someone else
my
always
sacrifice
falls.
is my service, and I get to be the king. Sweet. Screw you, buddy. I'm gonna set you on fire.
I think he's someone healing him. I'm going to attack this person.
Let's see. We got some responses. So, Undertale games are games where choice matters. Sort of. It's because the game was entirely designed to be a binary or a trinary game. You pretty much have 3 routes through the game, and they are hard. They're almost separate games set in the same universe.
And the problem is
to
if
some
you
degree.
start on one, you can't go back.
You kind of can, but you just end up falling in the middle in kind of a bad way.
Right. There are those games where you fall in the middle and then that's it.
And you know what? I can kind of live with that. As long as it's good and you kind of know going into it. And like the point of the game was like you're kind of destined for the middle ground neutral route. You know, not going where am I? Okay, there I am. You're not really supposed to go you know, genocide route initially, and you're not supposed to go pure pacifist initially, but I had a vague notion that there was a kind of a Boolean route through the game, and I was like, oh, well, this makes it really easy. I'm just gonna go with the everything is hugs and kisses route, and then everything was good. Most games don't pre-program that though, and I actually wish they would, because I think that would add a lot of extra replayability and interest. Where
I have come to realize that my personal feelings are of no consequence. My people are dying, and they need their king. Our resistance starts today, and Lord Winton, of all people, has provided the means. These reapers shall not have Westmarch. I swear my life on it.
Yeah, so the king The king was wanting to rally the people.
Yeah, the king was actually legitimately a good
Against
person, and this
the-
guy is just like, well, I get to be king now. Yeah, no, screw you, buddy. He is a jerk. But yeah, I would have loved it if, like, there was 2 routes through Mass Effect. No choices apart from, like, initial one. Like, everything else truly is superficial.
Wait, what? What do you mean? But you can't make a decision from the beginning.
Well, like, you know, if it was like, Saren was like, come with me, and you could.
That
Like-
would require that would require 2 games.
Yeah, effectively. But, you know, 2 games in one, but none of this multiple branching dialogue system. You really do just have this, like, initial Boolean decision, and then that's it. That's the game.
It always seemed like with Knights of the Old Republic, though, was a slow build, one way or the other.
Kind of a slow build, but, like, 90% of the story was the same. Whether or not you were Sith or, you know, Jedi. I played both.
Really?
Like, the overall plot was very similar.
The overall
People
plot was
treated
similar.
you differently, but you still did almost the same things. It was just like, I mean, a smoothie is a smoothie, whether or not it's blueberry or raspberry flavored, if that makes sense.
But the flavor.
Yeah, and like the flavor is different, but it's still it's still
Makes you want to spit it out.
similar. I don't know, maybe.
Some of them do.
Let's see. Did I ever play the God of War games? I've only actually ever played the most recent God of War game. I was never very interested in the old ones, but the new one was such a masterpiece that I couldn't help but pick it up. It was good. It was real good.
You wanted to play a story where you were a father carting their son
It is-
around. It is a different story.
Yeah. So.
Because usually it's the young hero trying to,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a dad, but I find myself particularly drawn to stories where it's an older, more experienced protagonist. Because I get so sick of the, like,
the teen
Yeah.
first embarking on their journey. The thing is, we could identify with that 10 years ago. And that was what we
I
were.
always had trouble with that.
Really?
It really depended. Like,
And I always did look up to the older characters that served as the mentors
yeah,
towards those characters.
For me, it was like, I mean, you remember the beginning of Final Fantasy X, right? Where Titus is just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, Golden Sun, where the characters are instantly likable and relatively competent the entire way through. They're not, like,
Weren't
super...
they kids, though?
Yeah, they were kids. But the difference was, like, they rose to the occasion as opposed to, like, whined about it to some degree. And I'm definitely remembering this through, like,
So you would rather
nostalgia
have
goggles.
a competent character from the start that isn't
You know, they
first
might not-
unlocking their hidden potential
Well,
or
I'm
realize
fine with
that-
the character, like, realizing hidden potentials and stuff like that. You know, it's like, oh, I have, you know, this special destiny or whatever. Like, yeah, it's a bit
enough
overdone
hatred.
at this point. But no, it's how the character reacts to the hero's journey
dream
that
has paid
really speaks to me. And so, you know, for God of War, he's this dude that, you know, he's out of practice, admittedly, but he is, by and large, an experienced person.
Whoa. Maiden of Flame.
He's an experienced person. He knows what he's doing. There's tutorial elements to it, but it's not like, you know, you are the son of Zeus and you have all these powers. He's like, what? Suddenly everything makes sense now. You know, I guess it's
You're
time
describing Hercules at this
yeah.
point.
suddenly it's time for a character building moment, so I can start being an actually competent character, and not either like an overconfident jerkwad.
Long
or-
training montage.
Or like a whiny
Power
jerk.
has grown.
And like,
whoa, get out of there. Yes, we didn't die that time.
let's go in the House
She
of Madness.
exploded.
Get to safety before it is too late.
No, I must prove myself to death. Prove I am worthy. Worthy to gather the souls that sustain him.
Wait a minute. He wanted to become a Reaper?
Yeah. And he
He was murdering people to do so.
is a tough fellow.
That is impossible.
Well, he's not worthy. Did a decent job for...
I can hear them. The voices speak to me again. What? Death is coming? But I can't die. I can't. I am too important to have my life just thrown away. Please, tell me how I can avoid my fate. You want me to do what? Must I? Oh, yes. Yes, I will. I swear it. I will do anything.
Chocolate and zombies.
Well,
Like, what are other examples of protagonists that immediately rise to the occasion of their hero's journey? I mean, I guess Aaliyah from Crosscode is a good example. She has emotional depth for a silent protagonist.
pretty much any 80s macho movie, like, think Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis,
I could work with those because,
whatever.
yeah, they were
always start off as the commando or the mercenary or the spy or
I
the...
want to say the
James
TV
Bond.
tropes term is the determinator or something like that.
The Determinator.
It was something kind of weird, but effectively, you know, the Schwarzenegger type is effectively the Terminator variety, and like Bruce Willis doesn't. You have all these other characters kind of mirroring the trend, where it's some rough dude that will grit his teeth and get through anything, no matter what.
And usually
it
over the
is.
course, they discover like that their employer is vile or evil, or they learn compassion,
Doom
or
guy.
they spare someone's life because they find out they're working for the wrong client, kind of thing.
The Doom guy is the perfect example of the you know, get through it no matter what kind of person. That's why I keep telling you, play Doom. It's so good. It's really good. Because, like, it's another silent protagonist that actually has emotional depth, despite the fact that he's a dude that punches computers and shoots things.
My master has begun his work on the stone. Nothing that you do matters.
I'm not convinced on that.
Soon demon spawn like you will be gone forever.
You will die for what you've done.
Have you noticed he's got a lot more flesh on him?
Yeah, he became one of those Hulks, in a way, because
And his wings are all messed up.
Well, he doesn't even really have wings
Because
anymore.
he's got, like, a face in there. You know, most of the other angels we've seen, did he just do a rocket jump with his, like, cannon?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I've also noticed that they've been turning orange
Where am I?
as
Oh, I'm
opposed
here.
to
Yeah, and
remain blue.
I'm betting they're getting corrupted by the Soul Stone. And, like, that's what we're gonna find out, that Diablo's back, and this time he's an angel!
Oh no.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of hope they don't come out with a Diablo 4 and they just make, like, a new IP. Or something. Maybe?
Well, it's kind of difficult to create villains that aren't necessarily...
The demon spawn shall perish in flames.
Well, okay. So, in angels versus demons with humans involved, when it comes to villains, there's the demons, which are almost always outright villainous, with the exception of maybe a compassionate one, but I haven't seen an example of that in this at all.
No.
With angels, they're the, you know, humans are vile and corrupt and we shouldn't defend them anymore and they deserve to perish. Sort of like what we're getting here. So that's when good deems humanity
really
unworthy.
loud, by the way.
It is.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I hope you really enjoy a high-pitched squealing.
Screech-tastic. And then with human villains in these situations, it's always, I made a deal with the devil so that I could save my people if they're, like, more virtuous. Or they're the, I, you know, made a deal with the devil for more power, and that would be the selfish kind. And if there's a human villain that's on, say, the angel side, then they're pretty much fulfilling the same judgment trope that you have with the angels that believe that humanity is too far gone and beyond redemption. So I don't know, what more could you potentially explore?
I think it's just going to be the same tropes. I mean, this game already is effectively just like, hey, remember all the previous Diablo games? Kind of. They had some originality for a bit, but that wasn't until Act 4, which is when they were in heaven. At the end of the game. And now this act. This act is actually totally unique. And way better than the rest of the game.
Ouch, I died. He landed on me.
Apart from the fact that this is a long and painful fight, and I'm dead.
He landed on me. This isn't good.
Checkpoint.
We have to go back. Oh, so he's... Aww. We have to fight him again, don't we?
Probably, yeah.
From the very beginning.
So make sure he doesn't land on you then.
My master
I don't know what
has
killed me.
begun his work on the
Oh, this sucks.
Soon demon spawn like you will be gone forever.
Or you will be. Have
Yeah.
you considered that?
If he kills us again, we could always just drop the difficulty down like crazy and just breeze through the rest of the game.
There we go. Now I can bring these out. I found that I couldn't get my resources back in a timely manner the last time around. It was weird.
But no, like, I don't know. I like Diablo, but
yeah.
I think Blizzard really undersold themselves for like how creative their studio could be over the years. And admittedly, at this point, I'm not actually sure if they'd be able to be as creative.
But is it just the setting and the genre? Because, for instance, with World of Warcraft,
very derivative.
you have, well, right, but you have old gods as villains. You have rogue dragons as villains.
World of Warcraft at this point is a kitchen sink story. They have added everything and its mother.
Lich Kings as villains.
Time travel, Lich King, people's dads, the same characters over and over again. When in doubt, bring the character back, because you haven't seen them in a while. I mean, Illidan was like
a villain,
key point in 2 expansions?
Right, but so they have demons as well. But the thing is, they have so many other things that there's always a new potential source of villainy, and each different source of villainy has its own methodology and its own unique flair, even though a lot of their motivations might be similar. Because the old gods might want to corrupt everyone and feed off of chaos in the universe, and evil Naru could do the whole justice thing. Or people driven by the light. The undead just want to, what?
And I'm not bothered by the fact that they're using all of this, but, like, it feels like they're trapped. You know, Overwatch is their only new, like, IP to make a story with, and it's a competitive hero shooter.
Well, and I think the problem with Overwatch is, you know how in World of Warcraft they recently burned down Teldrassil, the tree for the Night Elves and such. You probably couldn't get away with doing anything like that in Overwatch because it uses real-world countries and stuff. You don't want to step on anyone's toes. You don't want to...
Oh yeah, people were mad because the latest character, I think, was vaguely white, even.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
What new character was it?
I don't know. I just remember it's some kind of... another one of those, like, pseudo-controversies where it's just like, you know...
Well, because there was a new girl that was Scandinavian that was added.
No. That might not be it. I don't know. I think
Scottish?
it's just...
Or I don't know what she was.
Yeah, but she's not new. They've added several characters
They've added
since.
more characters since.
Yeah, they've got a freaking hamster and a ball, for crying out loud.
Yeah, they do have, what, the gorilla.
Yeah, the intelligent gorilla. I mean, it is kitchen sink character design as well. How many weird tropes can we come up with as well? No, they've got some nice subversions, like the Scandinavian dwarf, you know, cyborg, engineer type character.
Right, but once again, because they're working with real-world countries, Like, they do have, what, the villainous
It would have been better if they
of...
actually did the whole thing as its own separate universe. Mm-hmm. Because that would have worked better.
Yeah, because unfortunately...
Oh, talk to Malfio. What's up?
Oh.
Nephilim, I will bring an end to conflict. In death there is peace.
You wield a power you do not comprehend, Angel.
Okay.
I'm returning to town.
Because I don't think we can go out that other door.
Oh, it was about Ash? Huh.
Yeah. I guess they were hoping for a black woman, which I guess they don't have yet. But they have... I mean, I guess they got a black dude, and they've got a lot of other ethnicities.
I suppose they did have, a little girl from Africa. She built this mech thing, right?
Yeah. I don't know enough about... I thought that was actually just a robot.
Does she control it? Or sort of diva style, or... I forget.
Urzael is dead, and only a few Reapers remain.
You have saved Westmarch, my friend.
Not yet. We still don't know where Malthael is hiding.
That strange woman you brought here believes she can help. She insisted on speaking with you immediately.
Oh, we should do a quick scan for equipment.
Okay, they're saying that... Okay, built Orisa, the character, but isn't playable. Oh, right. Yeah, it would be weird having a child being shot at in a match situation.
Yeah. That would be a bit of an odd, not kosher thing.
Cheldo, I know how to find Malthael, but you will not like what I have to tell you.
Fine.
There is only one person who knows how to find Malthael. She waits for you in the Blood Marsh, and you know her well. Adria.
You were right. I do not like that.
That was so loud. The audio balance in this game is atrocious. It's so weird. Like 90% of the music is like super low level to the point where you can't even hear it over base gameplay. Oh, go salvage your stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, is there anything new?
Just do a quick
better?
Cycle. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ah, well, at least this looks okay with what I currently have.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's better.
Nope. All right. Oh, that makes it easy.
Okay, salvage. There's that.
I guess the thing with the Overwatch, like, gender inclusiveness thing, I feel like it's kind of ridiculous, because you already know
You're not
that...
going anywhere without me.
What?
Someone has to make sure you don't kill Adria before you find out where Malthael is.
You are the first to question my restraint, Lorath.
Funny.
Hmm.
More cutscene.
Dead angels now rest with the human corpses on the roads of Westmarch. But more will die unless we know where Malthael is hiding. I cannot imagine how Adria came by this knowledge, but somewhere in the Blood Marsh, our answers await.
Leah would understand. We need answers more than we need revenge.
We'll get answers, and then revenge.
We hid the Black Soul Stone in the deepest part of the Nephilim ruins near here. We thought it would be safe, but Malthael found it all the same.
But yeah,
whatever happened to their plan to just destroy this crystal?
I think Leah was quote-unquote the only person capable of doing so, question mark.
Oh,
or
right.
It was all a lie. Watch out, the bogs hurt. But yeah, with the Overwatch, like, Ash controversy, I guess it just bugs me because there's probably going to be a black woman within the next, like, year or two. And, like, I think that's what the controversy was, that, like, they hadn't added one.
Well,
yet.
I think the other issue is there are so many countries in the world, and haven't there been a couple of characters from the United States already?
Yeah.
So I think
I can understand why people are mad, but it also just feels like, I mean, like 2 characters down and they'll probably have her. I don't know.
It depends on how many characters. I mean,
They have so many characters they want to add.
Well, remember with League of Legends, how often do they release characters? Every half year?
Every couple
3
of
months?
It's pretty constant. They got to keep interest.
The first time I saw a witch, she burned. Father took me to the town square to see it. Look, he said, that is the face of evil. But she looked like any other woman, and burned like anything else.
This is the entrance to the tomb, but someone's collapsed it.
What a surprise.
It looks like we'll have to find another way into the ruins. What was that?
Enemies.
Wow. Yeah, so I think maybe they just want to
that.
Yeah.
have each country.
No, I get why, like, it feels kind of like you're being forced to wait unfairly. And I totally get that. I don't know. Maybe, I guess it bugs me when a game is already, like, really trying hard to be extremely inclusive. It bugs me a little bit when people get mad at it for not being inclusive enough fast enough. Maybe? Because, like, I don't know. Maybe this comes from the fact that I was kicked.
This was just one entrance to the city. There are guide stones littered across the blood marsh that will lead us to the main one. The guide stones are useless to most, but will reveal the correct path to a Nephilim such as yourself.
Well, I'm glad that for this game they had a female and male version of each
I'm glad that you could do
character
that.
class.
I hope they add, like, more character customization.
And in
the
Pokemon,
future.
I didn't even get the opportunity to play a female character until... I mean, I know that with Crystal they introduced it, but I already had Silver at that time, so I didn't get Crystal.
Well, that's not very reassuring.